The second irrefutable or undeniable observation that Charles Darwin makes about the natural world is that females are going to produce more offspring than the environment can support. Females over reproduce. So we're going to take a really quick moment and I'm going to have a little story time with Jared. There is a point, there's a rhyme, reason to the story. So years ago, my daughter was only 3, so I guess it was 7 years ago now. We were visiting Puerto Penasco, staying down in Los Conchas. And when I'm on the beach, I like to get up with the sun and run with the sunrise. I'm running down the beach, and way up ahead of me, I see something very strange on the beach. At first, I thought it was like hundreds of crabs. But as I get closer, I realize they're baby sea turtles. And these little baby turtles, hundreds of them, green sea turtles, they're fanning out in every which direction towards the water as well as up towards the dunes in the wrong direction. So I run back to the house we're staying at and I grab my children and my wife and we run out, and my daughter's 3 and she's running throughout those sand dunes and she's picking up these little baby sea turtles and putting them in her t-shirt and bringing them down to the water and letting them go. And I'll never forget her looking up at me and going, "I'm Moana." That little girl is now 10 and she wants to be a marine biologist. So you just never know how those moments can impact one's trajectory. But my point is, consider that a single female sea turtle is going to lay a clutch of hundreds of eggs. And the vast majority of those baby sea turtles, they're not going to make it. They're going to get creamed by cars or when they go out onto the road or get lost in the sand dunes, or they're going to get picked off by hungry crabs or seagulls, which were like swooping down. If they do make it to the ocean, we could see there was like all this broiling water, presumably as schools of hungry fish were grabbing these little guys. My point being is that one maternal female sea turtle is going to produce far more babies than the environment can support. So now take a moment and check out this nest of baby birds and notice that there's one egg that remains here in this nest that hasn't yet hatched. It's several days, if not a week, behind its nest mates. So if this egg does indeed hatch, this hatchling is going to be considerably smaller than its brothers and sisters. It's going to be days behind them in development. And so when the parents come back to provision the young with food, it's quite competitive. And that much smaller nestling is very likely to be outcompeted by the larger siblings. Oftentimes with birds, the larger siblings will actually push smaller ones out of the nest or even push eggs out of the nest. It seems cruel, but females are over reproducing. They are hedging their bets. They're making more babies than the environment can support. Has your pet dog or cat ever had a litter of young? If you've seen this, have you noticed that not all of the puppies or the kittens are the same size? That's right, there's usually what we call a runt, or sometimes two, who sometimes don't make it. So with domestic dogs with plenty of food from humans, runts have a much better chance. But in wild canines, like wolves and coyotes and these bat-eared foxes, depending upon the year, many of the pups, and especially the little runt here, they are not going to survive into adulthood. These two observations that individuals vary in their inherited traits and females produce more offspring than the environment can support are simply irrefutable facts of life.